Good morning. Hope everyone's doing all right on this fine Tuesday morning. A little foggy here. We ended up canceling school for fog. Seems like the first time we get fog every fall, and the first time we get frost, they cancel school for it. And then they realize, oh crap, yeah, we probably can't cancel school for frost and fog and move on with life. Few things. We're gonna work on the Switchwire. I was watching this morning. I was making my coffee and an English muffin. Joel put out a video with the new the P2S. So that looks interesting. LTX, how's it going, sir? By the way, good morning, Brad, as well. Say good morning to you in chat before we started, but good morning. Hope your day is starting off well, gentlemen. So, in other news, I printed this panel. And then it gets printed in 4 parts, and then you acetone weld these, or super glue, whatever your poison is, strips on the back to hold it all together. Now, the issue I came with, number one, I got some acetone bled through on the front here. I wasn't real fussed about it because by that point, if you can see the infill behind it. I don't know why it was printing with infill. It's got 5 solid top, 5 bottom layers, and this isn't even 10 layers thick. So it should print with 0 freaking infill. But Orca Slicer and its infinite wisdom decided that, hey, we don't like this. We're going to put infill in it. So for 2 layers, it ran infill. And like, I'm going to be honest, after the first 2, I was like, I don't know that I like this. Because if you saw the picture I posted when it started printing, the magenta is pretty vibrant. And then with that black behind it, it definitely isn't, especially when there's only 2 layers of it. So I reprinted it yesterday, reversing the colors so that it's magenta all the way through, and then just 2 layers of the black. And I think this looks better than this. Like, it looks more vibrant on camera here, but it looks way more vibrant in person. But again, this was printing with there's 2 layers of infill for some odd reason. I was just experimenting, trying to get the black a little bit more shiny because it kind of has the white spots where you're flexing it off the build plate or whatnot. And hit it with a torch, maybe a little bit too much right there. And melted down into the infill. So I'm reprinting all of it all over again. I've already reprinted this one, but with 100% infill, so that's not a concern. This back panel, I've put way too much time and effort into at this point. And material. That is the Polymaker Neon Magenta. Ooh. It's so dusty out here. Now, this is probably 2 weeks that I haven't cleaned off the front fan grill on my streaming computer. But Goodness gracious. Mike, how's it going? It's not Monday, not the 13th, I guess. Yesterday was a rough day. So today we're gonna switch scenes manually because my iPad's dead. We're gonna get back to this guy. And yeah. Now what I need from somebody, back to the NG. I need somebody to give me dimensions for how big that printer is when it's done. Width, depth, height. Can't remember if it's, I think October 13th was my parents' wedding anniversary too. Stand by. There we go. Much better. I feel like I can breathe now. So you want to hear the worst, speaking of being able to breathe, you want to hear the worst medical advice I ever got from a, well, they weren't a doctor, they were a nurse practitioner. So I go to the urgent care. And I suffer from chronic ear infections and stuff like that. So I have my entire life. Earlier this year, I actually had ear surgery to try to remedy that. So far, so good. Made it through allergy season and everything without one. Well, minor ones, but easier to deal with now. But anyway, the nurse practitioner wanted to argue with me about the medications that I've had to take, and is documented in my chart that I have to have in order to, you know, get rid of an ear infection. Told me to just go ahead and try to use Afrin on a daily basis from now on. If anybody's familiar with that, that's a lot like telling somebody, you know what, why don't you develop a meth habit? No shade to anybody that may have fallen into that trap at some point in their life. But having a doctor recommend it, or a medical professional, was a bit unchained. Rough day yesterday, thrown in with a little superstition. Well, man, I really hope that your day goes better today. Nick, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. Brad says your care package is out for delivery. Anywho, let's procrastinate on the Switchwire wiring a little longer, because I don't want to. 450, 450, 600. Damn. So I'm looking for a printer that I can fit on the shelf down here. And have a printer underneath the here as like I need the most reliable workhorse printer I can get to go down there. It needs to be enclosed because, as you saw, pulling dust off the front fans on that computer after 2 weeks, it gets kind of dusty for no good reason. I guess it is technically a shop, so. Yeah, well, if it's even remotely close, it's not going to work. I think I had like 520 clearance down there, so. I tried to convince Bamboo to send one. That didn't work. I thought it would. Anyway, all right. So let's plop this over on the side. Get you a room with a view. There's where we're at. I think after stream from last time, I turned this Pi 90 degrees so I could get the Nighthawk controller in here. But I think that's pretty freaking clean looking, really. Da Vinci, Vince, how's it going? Yeah. I need to change a couple things. This stream isn't sponsored by Polymaker. It's sponsored by Fabrico and LDO. Shout out to Fabrico and to LDO. Fabrico sponsored the filament for this, as well as the Jabberwocky toolhead. So super stoked about both of those. This is the dark teal. Beautiful color. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And then the Stardust gray. The only thing I'll say about that is the amount of glitter in that, and a extremely fine glitter. Print it with a large non-CHT nozzle. I ended up printing stuff with a 0.5. 0.5 Undertaker nozzle. Shout out to Dan over at West 3D for that one. He sent that one out to me for testing when they were testing some new coding stuff. But yeah. .5 or larger. That glitter tends to like to back up, particularly in CHT nozzles, and clog them. But it's a beautiful filament if you just print it with a slightly larger nozzle. The dark teal, no issue. There's no glitter in that. So just a word of caution on that. Not a huge deal. If you've built many of the LDO printers, I don't know what they're coming with now, but for quite some time they were coming with Revos with both a 0.4 and a 0.6. So check your boxes if you do. You probably have a 0.6 Revo nozzle sitting ready to go into it. Anyway, let's get some things going here. Yeah, let's get some things going. Let's start with We're gonna need a power switch. We're gonna need a power switch. Where's my Switchwire box? Oh, it's all the way up there. Good. Good, good. All right. Power inlet. Yeah, it's all right. That build is November 22nd. Mark it on your calendars. It's going to be a good day. I'm starting to get some word back from some folks on some of the prizes, and I'm excited. Some good ones, man. There's some good ones. They're all good ones, but there's some good ones. Luke, how's it going? Repping you again this morning with coffee made with some peppermint mocha cold foam. That is, oh boy, is that pink. On your way back from Virginia. What were you doing in Virginia, sir? Not that Virginia's a bad place to go. I love Virginia. It's a beautiful country. Beautiful part of the country, let's say. It's not its own country. I got the privilege to spend some weeks down at Virginia Beach in my early 20s. Went to a school down there for jewelry work. All right. So from there to here. We're gonna do this. I don't have any black in this gauge, so we're just going to do them both red and just wrap electrical tape around the neutral line. Shoulder surgery yesterday. Hope it went well. Hope he recovers quickly. How long of a drive is it back from how long of a drive is it back? There we go. Some green for grounds. another stretch so we can ground off to the frame. Good to go. 4.5 hours. Nerve block still in effect. Ah, so you got out of there before you started screaming, huh? No. Hopefully they'll take care of that. They're starting to get a little better after the very justified push to cut down on the amount of narcotics that they prescribed after surgeries. May have overcorrected there for a while and left some people extremely miserable. But they're doing a little better with that now. I need to print another one of these little buckets for trash here on the workbench. Also, I clearly got some of the wire here. Yikes. Clearly bigger than 16 gauge stranded. Oh, yeah, I feel you. It's like that every time I go to my mother-in-law's house. They've got cats. And my allergies go into overdrive. So normally it's like pop in, say hi for a few, and then take the small child over to the park that's across the street. Play at the park. Just because Dad's allergies can't do it. All right. I need to change this trash bag. Try to just switch it out on Wednesdays on trash day. Sometimes I don't make it Wednesday. There's a lot of dogs. It is a lot of dogs. All right. Let's get on with the crimpings. These are the funnest streams, most fun streams. All right. Short wire. Put a circle on here. So we can screw this off to the frame. No. I had it right the first time. For those that don't know, when you're crimping this type of connector, you've got, on your crimpers, you got a flat side and a pointy side. You want the flat side up against the part that, focus, flat side goes where they come together. Most of you guys know that. But there's my one bit of instruction and tutorial for the stream. The rest of it, you get nothing. I explain how nothing is done the rest of the stream. Since we're not actually doing anything but crimping stuff, we'll switch back over to this printer. Low sync! Beardy, how's it going, man? How's life treating you? All right. So, here I am, about to do it the wrong way. Beard printer, I think you took a break from streaming last week. You're going to be back to it this week? No pressure. No pressure at all. I was just curious. While we're on the subject, Luke and Bearded Printer both stream. Luke's got a YouTube channel where he uploads the VODs, but if you want to watch him live, Luke's Digital Dragon, go subscribe to Digital Dragon on Twitch and on the YouTubes. And then same with Bearded Printer. Subscribe to him. Both very different content from what I do. So Luke, while he builds printers like I do, he explains how to do it. And then Bearded Printer there does a lot of design work. Pick up some design tips over there, maybe some tricks. Or do like I do and just harass them the entire time about when we're getting a Bearded Printer Nerf Blaster. Flexi Nerf Blaster Bearded Printer. Hear me out. It flexes so you can shoot a round cover. Luke's an ex-military guy. He'll tell you just how well that worked for the military when they tried to do it. But it doesn't mean that you can't try. What were you doing with the Orange Storm Giga? I don't think I've seen Technical Tinkers. So, are they on YouTube or are they on Twitch, Losing? I broke down and I was like, all right, I'm going to try this Twitch Turbo thing. 7-day free trial. It's a YouTube channel. All right, I got to check them out. 7-day free trial of Twitch Turbo. All right, I'll see what it's about because I really hate ads. And then go through, they tell me it's going to cost me $0. I hit yep, confirm, all right. I get a notification for a charge for $12 to my card. You gotta be fucking shitting me. So now I have it for at least a month. Cracking conversion and tube tool head on the Giga. Woo. That sounds like fun. I haven't got to mess with a Kraken, and I haven't got to mess with a tube. They're on my bucket list. I kind of want one of each for different reasons. The tube to go into the Trident just because we do stupid stuff with the Trident. Oh, side note. Let's talk about the Trident for a second. We'll circle back to the tube. So I've spent several months, and a lot of people have spent a lot of time trying to help me track down the demon that was my Trident. So what would happen with my Trident is it's got a box turtle on it randomly in the middle of a print. Just go unload the filament and be done. It would come back to printing and finish printing the rest of the print as if it had filament loaded, but it didn't, and I couldn't figure it out. Lots of people put a lot of time and a lot of effort into trying to figure that out. Also, sometimes it would run the print end macro in the middle of a print. And just the other day, we did an entire stream where I redid the entire install on that thing. And it still happened. Happened on that panel, actually, that I was working on. So yesterday I posted up again. And the thing was that there was no errors anywhere. None of the logs showed anything. It just showed where it went unloaded and then kept on. Nothing to tell you like what called for that unload. And to all those people that put a lot of time, energy, and effort into helping me, 1, thank you. 2, I apologize. Pretty sure I figured out what it was yesterday with the help of the Voron helping Discord ticket that I started a while ago. When we changed out the skirts on that, being lazy, I didn't remove the G-code buttons that used to be on the skirts. I took the actual keyboard clicky switch off the front, left the PCB with the LED in the skirts, behind the skirts, to just kind of provide light to the skirts. And then never took the G-code button stuff out of my config. And then where they're plugged into the side of the Leviathan board into the extra GPIO pins, just with DuPont connectors, just kind of pop in there, they were starting to back out. Pretty sure what was happening was where they were backing out, they were making intermittent connection, and causing it to trigger the G-code button that was the filament unload switch, or the G-code button that was the home switch. Causing it to unload or just cancel out the print. So me being, it was a combination of a couple things. Me being lazy and not wanting to take those out because I didn't want to go in and mess with the LED config to remove them from the chain. Yeah, sending Morse code to the MCU, exactly. And then them starting to work their way loose because it's not like a snapped in like JST plug or anything like that. It's just, you know, slid in there. And then me forgetting to remove the or comment out at least the code out of the printer config was causing that issue. So that is 100% on me every single step of the way that caused the problem that I've spent the last several months. A lot of people put a lot of time into trying to figure out. So again, thank you to those people that did help. And also, I am very sorry. Because I very much feel like I wasted your time. The good news is, now I haven't had it happen since, and you know, it's one of those intermittent issues where you can't really kind of duplicate it. But it's one of those things where when you've found the answer to the problem, you kind of know you found the answer to the problem. It's kind of that. Anyway. Oh, crap. We need wires to go over to the 5-volt power supply. Right. 5-volt power supply wires. Let's get it. Let's go like this. Although, I must say, it was to the point where I was like, I'm just going to get rid of this printer. I don't care. I'm just done with it. So it's very nice to not feel that way anymore. Because I do really love that printer. We're just doing a bunch of cutting and crimping. Should I run these to Wagos and then split them out? Sure. Am I going to? Nope. What am I going to do instead? I'm going to put fork connector things on it and go from one power supply to the next. LTX, yes. I am going to be printing those skirts. I think it makes it look like a more finished build. There's a bunch of yelling and screaming going on inside of my house. I don't know whether I want to go check on that or not. All right. One, two, three. 4, 5, 6. Oh, it pains me to not just do this the right way. All right, we're just going to do it the right way, I suppose. I'll get a Wago block thing and mount it in here. And we'll run Wagos. All right, so these only need connectors on one end. Mini bike, how's it going? All right. My youngest seems to have woken up in a fantastic mood. That's still right. No, it's not right. Because this is going to go from the Wago to the frame. for science. Yeah, I really like that new power supply. I talked to Jason a bit about that when they first announced it. I think if I just cut these, we can use both sides of these. For those that don't know, LDO has a power supply that is both 24 and 5 volt. Provides both. Now I'm paranoid that these aren't tight enough, because that one just came off. Really hard to tell how hard I'm gripping things, squeezing them, or crimping them. But I know that if I just lean on it, we've got quite a bit of weight in it. Where it's crimped pretty good then. All right, it's crimped pretty good. That one's crimped pretty well. Dun dun, dun dun. All right. Let's grab some Wago connectors. I don't know. So did anybody else grow up watching maybe way too much Bill Nye the Science Guy? Or is that just me? I shouldn't have put that switch in there yet. It's gonna make it extremely hard to read. See if I can get it out. Just go around the other side, I guess. Nope, it ain't gonna work either. Take it out. Take the entire skirt out. Yeah, I don't know how old I was when I was watching them. I just remember watching them. Need to get this switch wired up. Okay, so those are hot wire. Here's our neutral wire. Let's get some black electrical tape. Hi, Vic. How's it going, bud? I don't know that I ever saw Beekman's World then. I have to look that up. All right. Putting black electrical tape onto the ends of the wire so that my wire now identifies as a black wire. Okay. Hopefully this wire fits into this. No, not really. All right. Do I have one in this box? Yes. Now we'll go from there over to the other side of the switch. Lovely. Let's see if we can find a Wago mount for this real quick. Go here. Printables. 3030 Wago. Enter. It's being stubborn. Hello? Are you home? There we go. 2020. That's the wrong one. 3030 Wago mount. 2x2. There we go. Morning, Captain. How's it going? Okay, files. Oh, wait. These are all... That's not going to work. 5-port Wago. Open an Orca slicer. Brad, why does your things keep saying message retracted? Bum, 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 bum. While this does that, we will go ahead. Go. Are you charged? Okay, you are charged. There we go. We'll come over here and we'll load some filament. Onto the V0, because this is what the V0 excels at. Being in the middle of a project and going, oh crap, I need a part. The V0, by the way, has been added to the whiteboard. I've not touched this thing since I built it, with the exception of putting this screen on this little tiny screen on the front. I really want one of those little tiny wave share screens to put on that thing so I can have clipper screen on it, because otherwise the rotary thing, I can turn the temperature up or down if I have to for some reason, but the rest of it's pretty much freaking useless. Okay. But V0 has made the list for projects now. So it's going to be Calico, because that little screen on the front has a tendency to disconnect because it's an MCU. And when it does, it shuts the whole kit and caboodle down. I need to take some time and make Orca Slicer look right over here. Currently it doesn't. Skirts. Skirt loops. Advanced. There we go. I was like, where's my options? Skirt distance. This is a tight fit. Print. Upload and print. Excellent. So now, in 42 minutes, we'll have a Waco mount thing. Good. We need to turn LDO and Fabrico on over here. Right. Now, let's put this back on. That is cross-thread like a motherfucker. What is going on? Maybe if I loosen these so this kind of just floats about, I can get these to line up better. There we go. I don't want to want to not cross-thread that time. Most excellent. Anyway, so the V0 is going to get the mini stealth burner replaced with a dragon burner. So we get a little bit more cooling out of the tool head. It's got a little 1515 or 1520, whatever they are, auxiliary fans for auxiliary cooling. But I'd like to get some 4010 blowers on there on the tool head. So we're going to go with dragon burner. And thinking about doing that tulip mod. I don't know. All right. So, but if there anything else you can think of that would be fun to do on the V0, let me know. One of the things that I wanted to do is Chamois over at XR Bunker has an UFO light thing. Adds RGB underneath the bed, so it kind of shines down into the bottom of the printer. Kind of wanted to do that. So maybe we'll work that into it. All right, so positive is over there. Um, yeah, I imagine it does. The mask is it's probably wider than the entire printer is. Let's wrap some Martin. Martin, I can't remember. Is today your Friday or is that tomorrow? Killer Prince. Good morning, sir. How are you feeling today? Hope you've recovered back to 100% now. Truly appreciate all the stuff you've been sending me. Not 100, but you have to work. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you have a good day at work. Hope it's an easy day. Nothing worse than not being 100% and then having your day go to crap. Havoc, did I see you earlier? Did I say hi to you? Right, so guys, we had a fantastic record weekend for view time, subs, and the like. We were in the 90s, I think, both days for watch time. And then I think yesterday was down to around like 25, but it was a Monday. You know, people were working, people weren't sitting around all day. Which is still very respectable for me. So thank you to everyone who's been watching the channel, that's been putting it on just to stream on their second screen, or when they're leaving to go to work, or when they're... Yeah, 2.8 wave share is, I don't know, but it can hook up to the Raspberry Pi 4 that's in there. It's just a function of, that's a stupidly expensive screen for the size that is. It was like $50, which is crazy. Yeah, everybody putting stream on just to roll in the background as they're doing whatever, or headed out to work, or headed off to bed, putting on one of the playlists. I appreciate you. Yeah, but the problem is the 4.3 inch one looks absolutely ridiculous on a V0, in my opinion. Yeah, because I think the 4.3-inch wave shares are what I have here on the two Switchwires. I tell you, the worst screen that I have is that Big Tree Tech screen on the Micron. It's terrible as far as responsiveness. The AFC Clipper screen thing doesn't scale right to it for some reason. So that looks wonky. I've got the little screen on it. I don't know. I prefer Clipper screen. Most of the time, what I use my Clipper screen stuff for is if I need to do something, I need to heat it up or I need to home it. And maybe there's some way to home it from that little screen. But I haven't figured it out. And I also select prints from there quite often. Like, I sliced up a whole bunch of files and sent off to the Trident and the 2.4. Like, I grabbed all the well, right now the 2.4 is slicing up all the enclosure parts for the NG. So I grabbed them all out, separated them out on the build plates how I wanted, sliced all the plates and sent all the plates to the printer. And now when it gets done print, take all the parts off, go on the screen, pick the next one, and start it. Tube compact on the V0. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Sadly, I don't see that happening, unfortunately. Budget constraints being what they are. But I do think the tube is the most bulletproof designed hot end out there. That's for sure. Both the tube and the tube compact. That they are. If you can afford the budget for it, I think they're the way to go. Tube compact might be, unless you've got some sort of off-the-wall printer, I think probably a tube compact is the most solid option for a hot end there is. Because you're going to be able to, if you get cold side jamming that, doesn't matter, torch it. If you get heater burns out, you're going to be able to find a heater for it, because those heaters are used in industry outside of 3D printing. So you're always going to be able to get a heater for it. Same way with thermistors and stuff like that. You're going to be able to push up the temperatures that you'd never be able to push into anything else. Yeah, I think it's the most rock solid choice of hot end there is. And at a flow rate equivalent to an ultra high flow, it's going to cover as much, if not more so, flow than 99% of people will ever actually need out of their printer. All right. So, I'm getting extremely tired of working out of these little bags. We're waiting for the V0 to do V0 things over there. I think it's still heating up the chamber. So, here's what we're going to do. M3 hardware, M5 hardware. It's M3. If you missed the stream where we installed all the drawing drawer stuff, you should add that to your to-do list. Check that out. This stuff is fantastic. This is M2 stuff. We're going to cheat and put it over here. So 10 M5 by 10s. 3 by 6s. Just making sure we don't have any. What's we call it? We don't. Okay. 5 by 16s. Actually, 3 by 6 up in the front. And then move these all the way to the back. All right. There's 8s. More 3 by 6s. 30 T-nuts. M5. 3 by 12, 3 by 12, 3 by 16, 3 by 30s, 3 by 25s, 5 by 40s, and 4 by 8. So the plan is when I'm working on a project, the hardware for it will go over here. When I'm done with said project, the hardware for it will get sorted into the correct bins over there. So 3 by, doesn't look like I have any 3 by 10s. So 3 by 12. By 12 flathead screws go back there. I don't even know where they get used on this. Five washers. Three by 15s. Three by 20s. Three by 25s. Three by 30s. 3 by 40s. There we go. And now I don't have to go digging through bags. Raj, how's it going? More drawers for your workshop? Awesome. What size did you end up going with for most of your stuff? Conduit, HVAC unit, and an extra coffee pot? Yeah, guys, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. If you're new here, say hi in chat. We like seeing all the new faces abouts. We got lots of new subscribers over the last few days, so I'd be willing to bet there are a few new people at the least. All right, we're gonna roll this in here. No, we're not. We need an M3. Then we're going to get our grounding wire. Twelve. No, we need a 10. So I'm trying to have this screw bottom out against this bottom extrusion so that it can kind of scrape through the plastic, scrape through the anodizing on this extrusion a little bit. And interesting. Ten's way too long. And 8 seems just a tad bit too short. Ears itching. We've not made it very far today, have we? Wiring is so slow going. Common. Yeah, I'm getting nothing passed through or anything. All right. On to the next plot. Them 3. Wow, this is truly crappy. Ugh. Pezlis, how are you today? Appreciate all the shout outs lately. Truly, truly do. I think Pezlis has shouted me out last night on Z and Z and on her stream on Sunday as well. So that's been extremely awesome. All right, we're gonna take and we're gonna take and drill a hole in here. We're going to take this tap the world's shortest freaking whatchamacallit. Oh, I can't be bothered with this. JPP, how's it going? JPP posted up his VR interview yesterday with Reality about their scanners. All right. Now we've tapped a hole in there. Now grab our M3x6. Put that in there. Now, if we grab onto this, we hit anything that's actually got some metal exposed on it. We're getting continuity all through the frame. So now the frame's grounded. Yay. All right. Let's put this jumble of wires away. Put that cover on the wrong one. There we go. Put what is quite possibly the world's crappiest tap back. Roll it back in its case. Put it away. All right. The V0's almost done printing that thing now, I think. Okay. Now, we're going to need a wire from here over to the MCU. So, let's go from here over to here, up. Perfect. Needs to be just about that long. Then we need two of them. Okay. Oh, that's why. So you guys can't. Why is it not looking at the right thing? There we go. So here's where we're looking at so far. This is what I just did. I just drilled and tapped a little hole to screw in the grounding wire. The equipment grounding into that. You know, the one thing I don't have that I really need to get is a crimper and whatchamacallit, just put some metal sheathing around the wire. What is that called? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on what those connectors are called. We're going into these post terminal things. Ferrules. That's what they're called. Ferrules. Yeah. You guys got it, and you got it. You guys got it. You knew what I was talking about. Yeah, I don't have a ferrule crimper or assortment of ferrules. I'm gonna make one of these identify as a neutral. Oh, good. Not identified on the front of the SKR. And I can see it. Oh, Mike, I love you, bud. All right. SKR mini E3V3 pinout. This goes here. All right. And I want to run and use the restroom. While I'm gone, would you guys rather look at the Trident printing, or would you rather look at the please stand by screen? Quick. Needs to know, which would you prefer? First one to say one in chat is what it's going to be. Tried it. I've got cookies. I made chocolate chip cookies the other day. All right. Monitor. There we go. And I'll be back in a moment. All right. And we're back. Yeah, so what was it? Saturday, yeah, we made chocolate chip cookies. Turn on some lights around here. Lights. Open the blind, get some sunlight in. The sun's shining nice and bright right outside this window. Lovely. What's everybody's favorite cookie? Yikes. Peanut butter bars. Ooh. All right, everyone, quick in chat. What's your favorite cookie? This is where ferrules come in handy. Make sure that you don't get one stray wire off to the side. It causes everything to short out. This screwdriver is way too small for this task. Y'all keep spelling brownies wrong. Chocolate and peanut butter chip cookies. Whew. Love it. Love it. Being from the Buckeye State, chocolate peanut butter is kind of our go-to combination. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup peanut butter, 1 egg. I've not tried those, bearded printer. I've got, at last count, 40 some cookie recipes in my recipe box. Positive. I think my favorite cookie is raisin-filled cookies. Fun fact, my favorite thing, and the thing I am probably best at, is cooking. Oatmeal raisin is a solid choice bearded printer. Monster cookies are really good too. They're like an oatmeal cookie that's got M&Ms in it and chocolate chips with some peanut butter in with them. Mike, I love brownies. I didn't say I didn't like brownies. I actually just bought a pack of... Oh. Mike, if you like brownies, here's what I'm going to do for you. When you come on the 22nd for our big stream event, I'm going to make you my brownies. My brownies have espresso in them. They are a very dense brownie, sir. Memory serves, it's like one of the like big size Lindt chocolate bars that gets chopped up, that gets put in there. A ton of cocoa. It's got espresso in there. Yeah, they are good. They are good brownies. A bag of Doritos. What the hell? Yeah, you gotta have your brownie dense, slightly undercooked, so still nice and gooey. My personal opinion is that anybody that puts icing on the top of a brownie should be put on trial for crimes against humanity. That's just me. Do what you like. Package has been delivered. Brad, it seems like your box is in the mail box. All right. Now we need... I'm going to get this wire. We need to go from voltage negative on 24 to voltage negative on 5 volt. Tie our grounds together between the two power supplies. You're one of those savages that likes a poke cake, aren't you, JPP? My in-laws love poke cakes. They make one, it's got like Heath bits on the top and like condensed milk they put in this cake. I'm just like, what are you doing? I don't want my cake to be half a soup. They shipped it on the mail. Oh, fucking Christ. I got confused when you said I need this shipped to my buddy and they actually put it on a boat, huh? All right. voltage negative. Man, I have not tried to make a lava cake, but I am a big fan of lava cakes. All right. Get some black and red for running power over to the pie. We're gonna make this about that long. Strawberry Jello cake. Peach cobbler. I'm more so I like apple crisp and peach crisp. Peach crisp more than I like cobblers. Not that I have anything particularly against cobblers, but if I'm making them, I'm going to make a crisp rather than a cobbler. I need to make some apple crisp. I've got a bag of apples in there. All right. Let's get our negative from 24 volt and our negative for pi. I don't know why these terminals are just ever so slightly too wide. Fit in the 5 volt power supply. Yeah. Grounds are connected to each other. A pumpkin bake-off. I didn't like pumpkin flavored anything when I was a kid. And I'm starting to like a few things. The electric pie board, I'm not familiar with it. Damascus, what is it? Just like a buck converter that kind of goes on the pie or something? There's enough sugar, you'll eat it. So here's what I find for what I do and don't like as far as pumpkin stuff goes. Stuff where pumpkin is the flavor focus of the dish, I don't care for. Pumpkin pie and the like, not for me. Things that have pumpkin in them is a different story. If it's a flavor profile in the dish, not the flavor profile of the dish, if that makes any sense. All right, so that's everything attached to the, the V0 either ran out of filament or clogged halfway through. It looks like it ran out of filament. Shit. There's no filament runout detection on it, and I put what was left on a spool. I thought it would make it. All right. So that'll get us over to here for pie, power to our pie. Let me ask you guys a question. What kind of videos do you guys watch outside of 3D printing content? Now, I will grant you that within the last 6 months or so, we've gotten to the point where there's pretty much somebody streaming almost 24 hours a day. There's somebody in the 3D printing community streaming. So you can pretty much watch 3D printing 24 hours a day if you so chose. But what kind of content do you guys watch outside of 3D printing? I have recently, I found them a little while ago, a channel called Yes Theory. They travel the world and they go see a lot of different places, and it's really positive content. But I've always enjoyed some of the travel shows. I used to watch the boats where the videos where people were sailing around the world and stuff. I'd love to do that as a retirement thing. Just sail the world. Yeah, I was curious what everybody watches when they're not watching like maker content. You watch sailing videos too? What's your favorite sailing channel? A bunch of them that I watched are all kind of down building new boats, fixing their boats, getting new boats. Not doing boat content at all anymore, just weird videos in the middle of the jungle or something. Sam Holmes Sailing. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I watch a lot of historical stuff too, Mike. Yeah, Veritasium and Steve Mold stuff is awesome. Later, JPP. Have a good day, sir. All right, let me get my DuPont crimper out. And crimp some DuPont connectors. One. Where'd the other connector go? There it is. Is it time to go home yet? Yes, it is time to go home. Twisted Metal. Are you talking about the TV show on Paramount, Brad? Historical. So, a lady and her husband that I used to work with, back in New Jersey, at jewelry shop that I worked at. They had an old sailboat that they were redoing. It was kind of their retirement plan, was to put that into the water in the Caribbean and spend their retirement sailing the Caribbean. I often wonder, because I saw a post on their Facebook page where she retired, and I wonder if she did that. Did they ever put out a season 2? Season 1 was so fun. But I think I heard somewhere they canceled it and weren't doing a season 2. Get in there. There we go. All right. GPIO pinout for Raspberry Pi. 5 volt ground. I knew that. I just never trust myself. So I always look it up. If I stuff you back behind this wire, will you stay in there? Kind of? Okay. Yeah, a couple of them have like gone from boating to homestead stuff and are doing a terrible job at it. Writing a check to ride in one. There you go. They are expensive. What's our bed temp at? 70 some. All right. I'm going to have you guys hold for 1 second, because I'm going to go out to the mailbox and grab packages. Since you guys voted for it last time, we'll put the Trident back on again. All right, I'm back. Bear with me for a second. We're going to take a look in this package, but my Sharpie marker is seemingly dead. So I can't mark out the address stuff. So I'm going to open it, pull stuff out, and then we'll switch the camera. So I don't pull a Creality. Ooh. Ooh. All right. So these are goodies that Brad sent us for our NG build. I know, having grown up 20 minutes from the Delaware Bay and the Atlantic Ocean, I do miss the water. So we've got a bamboo hot end with heater and thermistor, and are these like socks go on in addition to this sock, Brad? How's that work? Or what do we got in here? Oh, silicone spacers. I saw these on the list for whatchamacallit. I need these for the NG, right? The Creality thing was nuts. Oh, yeah. Are these the silicone spacers that I was talking about on the CAD? For the bed, rather than using springs? Oh, was there some in the kit? For the... Oh, for the hot end and the Jabberwocky. Oh, okay. Okay. Then we got 5-volt power supply for the NG and an extruder that I've yet to have any experience with. Nice. CNC HG HGX gears. All CNC'd. What is this extruder called, Brad? This is nice. Thank you. I like this. I like this. This is nice. We'll put this on the NG for sure. Because that LGX I was going to put on there, truth be told, I'm pretty sure the stepper motor's dying on it. I mean, it put in like 5,000 hours. So no hard feelings against it, but I'm pretty sure that stepper motor was dying. HGX Lite. Okay. Yeah, this is nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Nice thing about these large gear extruders like this is that they're really good with flexibles. Now, I think I'm gonna have to go back and reprint. What's the bolt pattern on this? Is this orbiter bolt pattern, or what is the bolt pattern for mounting this? No, I think I'm pretty sure I have a 10-2 stepper motor. Yeah. Right, here we go. Stepper motor. An LDO one. So we're good on stepper motor. A Sherpa? Okay. These got to go in with hot end stuff. All right, one last thing to run wires to. And that is the there it is. The little board for the Nighthawk. Okay, so I come out there, come out there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are starting to irritate me. There's that. I'll get the mount for that at some point here. Now, last but not least, the Nighthawk connection. Maker Viking, how's it going? How are you today? if you haven't yet, go check out Tinker Atlas. Maker Viking's been building that site. Really cool, really fun resource. Share out what you're doing. Maybe even meet some makers in your part of the world. I need to do a couple things here real quick. Okay, awesome. I'm doing pretty good. We're doing wiring on the Switchwire build that we've been working on. Getting mains power stuff run and running 24 volts to all the different controller boards. All right, so ground. Listen to Nighthawk board. Might be a way larger gauge than, strictly speaking, is needed. All right. Gotta cut some of this off. Yeah, for a minute there, there was an issue where it wasn't running stuff through. I have the same issue. I went to sign up with one email, it wasn't working. I ended up signing up with another after Maker Viking addressed the issue and got it back up and going. Oh yeah, Maker Viking, I meant to tell you, if you set a request for a email for a password reset, it doesn't send out the email. Yesterday, for some reason, it kept saying I had the wrong password. I tried to do a password reset. It wouldn't send out the email, and then like 10 minutes later, it let me finally log in. The site is definitely still under construction. So bear that in mind. Maker Viking is doing an awesome job at addressing issues extremely quickly when they are brought to his attention. I cannot even imagine how much time he's had in it recently, at the very least recently. Working on it is definitely a passion project. But it is a very, very cool thing. And I am very much enjoying sitting and looking at stuff people post. Captain Kern's got some pictures up of his workshop construction over there. Dan MakerMind Nexus was featured a Maker Spotlight the other day. Maker Viking was yesterday. So really cool write-ups about different makers. You can learn some fun facts about some folks, about their passions and what drives them. All right, so here's what we have so far. We have all of our 24-volt wiring, our mains wiring, 5-volt wiring, all sent out to all the places it needs to be. And then we'll work on lines from the controller boards out to their subsequent locations on the next stream. I'll get that block printed so that these Wagos are dealt with and put into the right spot. Yikes. That's a lot of time. It is extremely cool. I appreciate the resource. It's something that I wish existed within some other stuff too. Like I was just talking to some folks that have some map stuff, very rudimentary by comparison, for the Nerf blaster stuff. And I was like, you should put on there a way for like people to put like where they're from, so you could connect with people, not just events, right? Because right now it's like events that are posted up on the map. And they're like, well, people might not want. I was like, if they don't want to share their location, they don't have to. They could also just do it as general as this county or whatever. They don't have to like drop a pin on their house, but a way to connect with, especially in the Nerf community where, you kind of need people to play with. It'd be really helpful. And the same thing See, I grew up in a world where, you know, as kids, we didn't call our friends to see if they were home. We just got on our bikes and rode over there and knocked on the door. And it was the same way with the adults, right? So, you know, you might be sitting there and you get a knock on the door and, you know, your buddy from across town just drove over or happened to be driving by because they went to, you know, the local convenience store to grab a cup of coffee in the morning and just saw your car out front or saw your garage door open and they just poke in, hey, what's going on? And it doesn't happen anymore, right? You don't have people just randomly stop by. I'll have, you know, sit here all day with the garage door open working out here, and I'll see people I know drive by. I've never once had somebody stop and just, you know, at the end of the driveway, hey, what's up? How you doing? Nothing. And it's a shame. I think there was a lot to be said for that kind of community, you know, or your neighbors are out walking the dog and they see you and they just stop and they talk and they chat, and that doesn't happen anymore. And I think a lot of the world's problems would be solved if that kind of stuff happened more. If people just got off their phones, went out into the real world, had conversations with real people and people, you know, that they may not know, meet new people, make new friends. I've lived in Ohio now for 15 years. And I have associates that I work with or whatever, but I don't have any real friends to speak of that I've made living here. You know, I've got, you know, friends in the online community and stuff like that, but nothing like, you know, real world local kind of thing, you know? I don't mean it to sound like I don't consider many of you friends, because I do. But none of you guys live in the same town as me. Does that make sense? But so much arguing and drawing lines in the sand and us versus them mentality in the world today is because everybody's so isolated and cut off from one another. Brad, Mike, by the way, I made you guys mods here on YouTube as well. Brad and Mike and Steven Marchado have agreed to be mods within the community. I appreciate that. The other thing that I really appreciate is that, honestly, I've had no need to actually have mods. There's been no incidents where having them would be necessitated, but it's better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them. So, thank you to them. Yeah, and I understand that when you get into a niche kind of thing, like I did RC cars, and a vast majority of like the people that I communicated with regularly that I considered friends were online. Now, RC cars, again, kind of like, you know, Nerf is kind of like something you do in person, but it's also something that you kind of travel to some events for. So I had friends and associates that I did it and spent time with in real life as well. But some communities, it's way more niche, and you're going to have an online community for that, because there's just not a lot of people doing it. And 3D printing was very much so like that just a couple of years ago. But now, with the rise and the popularity of the out-of-the-box printers, way more people are getting into it, and it's becoming way more common. You know, by the time when I got my 3D printer at work, there was maybe 3 or 4 people that had printers at home. How many of them actually used them very often was another story. And then, you know, this summer, at the time that, you know, I went out on medical stuff, that number had multiplied several times over. Again, how many of them use it on a consistent basis and whatnot is a different story, but they have them. They're into it some. I can have a conversation with them about it and not be the weird guy that only talks about 3D printing. That kind of thing. All right. Wiring's always so slow going. Oh yeah, still way more potential. GTR Dad, how are you doing today? Martin's back. All right, we got another one of the NG panels printed. I'm hoping that I can manage to do this without needing to buy another spool of neon magenta. Changing computers, all good, man. I got to get off here in a minute anyway. The old lady has an appointment. Actually, let me shout inside and make sure she left. She has left. The youngest tells his friends you're like Tony Stark. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Anywho's, think that about does it. I'm gonna finish cleaning up. Make sure I get all these little bits of wire into the trash, change out trash bags, put the drill away. I'm gonna keep chugging away at some of this wiring stuff because it's boring. Let's be honest, it's boring. It does not make for good content in and of itself. We're just down to us talking. But if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't, share stuff out. And that'll be about it. 11 to 30. Mine's 6 to 18. So not quite the gap you have. But pretty sizable gap. Anyway, y'all, we'll be back again tomorrow. Hopefully by then I've gotten it to the point where we're wrapping up the wiring. I don't want wiring to be every stream for a week. Thank you, Mini Bike. Yeah, we did hit 1K subscribers on Saturday. We've got the watch hours. We're waiting for YouTube to catch up for getting the application for monetization pushed through. That's for the first level of monetization. And then we've got another 1,000 hours to go till we get to the second. But realistically, the second isn't going to make me any money. It's YouTube AdSense. It's whatever. We'll hit it. We're doing good, though. We've gotten, I think, almost 200 of that 1,000 additional watch hours in the last couple days, just from folks watching content, putting it on when they're selecting a playlist, letting it play on their second monitor, when they're headed to bed or headed out to work, putting it on the play while they're gone, whatever. Try to be the first super chat and sticker. That'd be cool. It's going to be fun. I've got some ideas for some members only content once a month. I don't want to make it like a huge thing where people are like missing out on stuff. So it'll be something fun that people would want to be a part of, but also wouldn't feel like they're being cheated on the channel if they're not. Does that make sense? Anyway, talk to y'all later.